Create or save? President Obama defending his economic stimulus plan from critics who say we have spent so much and still have no real jobs to show for it. My next guest says this creating or saving nonsense is nothing more than fuzzy math. He's former Indiana Congressman Chris Chocola, from now the president of Club for Growth. Chris, what I never understand with this new math is then if the numbers don't suit you, then come up with something nebulous like jobs we consider saved. There's no real way of proving it or dismissing it, right?
Well, that's exactly right, Neil. I don't know how you prove it. You know, I've failed to appreciate it, but it's hard to appreciate things that never happen. You know, even if the accelerating the stimulus spending, and by the way, spending fast and spending well rarely go together, but even if it did create 600,000 jobs this summer, I think those are going to be just that, summer jobs. They're going to be temporary. They're going to be artificial. They're not going to be a result of the economy growing. They're going to be a result of government growing. And that's not how we get real jobs, and that's not how we can count jobs that are going to be here for years and generations to come.
I mean, I guess it would be like President Bush saying we would have gained 500,000 jobs had it not been for the financial crisis. So allowing for the financial crisis, we're up 500,000. Where does it end?
Well, that's exactly right. You can play this game all day long. You can't prove or disprove, but we know what the numbers are. I think since the stimulus bill was signed, we've lost about 1.6 million jobs. Unemployment was something like 8.1%. It's now 9.4%. I tried to find a calculator with enough zeros unsuccessfully, but I think it works out that the money we've spent so far, we've spent about $291,000 per job created that the Obama administration claims we've created, about 150,000 jobs. You know, I think the taxpayers and those job holders would probably be happier if you just gave them half that amount of money and let them spend it in the economy and let the market decide that rather than government. You know, it's just really inefficient to take $787 billion out of the economy, run it through the government, have bureaucrats and politicians decide how to spend it rather than the market. And that's how you get a job that costs $291,000 to create.
Well, Congressman, what I worry about is then how it sets the precedent for more spending and all of this. And, you know, I could just tell people, gee, I'm Pluto, I'm svelte. But, you know, all of a sudden it's just you got a crazy math to justify almost anything. And if this is the first thing you do, where does it lead? Are you going to say, if not for this program, we would have lost X number of jobs? And, you know, and it will be used as justification for more government spending. And I don't care where people stand, right or left on this, but we have a history in this country of using a set series of benchmarks. Unemployment up or down, number of jobs gained up or down, you know what I mean? And we're changing the benchmarks.
Well, we're creating a benchmark. I don't know if we're changing it. We're pulling it out of thin air. I mean, like we talked about, there's no way to prove or disprove this. But what we need to do is look at how do we grow the economy? How do we give the incentives for people to create real jobs? I spent most of my life in the private sector and business running a manufacturing company that made agricultural equipment. And I know what a real job is. It's not a temporary job on a public works program. And, you know, when we spend this money, when the spending stops, it's kind of like a sugar high. You know, we're going to lose those jobs. We're going to feel probably a little worse after we're done spending the money than we felt before we started spending the money. And so this is all artificial. It's growing government. It's not growing the economy. It's not growing jobs. It's putting people to work on temporary artificial projects. And so it's hard to measure, again, things that don't happen. And so politics is about perception rather than reality. And unfortunately, this is a great example of that.
Chris, thank you very, very much. We'll be watching it.
Thanks, Neil.